No, it didn't. Okay. No, it didn't. It didn't work.
You tried, darling.
I
Keep
did.
it up. Keep it up.
So meow doesn't work. Meow's not.
Meow's not the
I even did the
secret word. All right.
I think this is a part of it. I definitely have to go like this.
That certainly seems magical to me. So, I am Bumbleflea. I am going to be one of your hosts this evening. We're going to be reviewing a travesty for all of catkind.
I'm Zoom Moon, the not magic cat. Yes.
She's rather magical. She's just getting the hang of it.
Magic beginner.
She's intermediate at best. It's all right. It's the effort that counts. So putting that aside, it is Paladin Ashley under all this makeup. I am somewhere in here, but I'm channeling my cat. So Bumbleflea is my cat name. And every cat has 3 names, just FYI. We're gonna go really deep into this cat lore, you guys. Just buckle up, because this is not even an appetizer for what you're about to witness here. So we're going to really go deep into cats, the lore, the new movie, and comparing it with the old movie. And we have a lot of thoughts. We have a lot of feelings.
Oh, so many feelings.
So many feelings. So
feelings everywhere.
We're full of feelings. So what? Where did you want to start with this travesty that is Cats 2019, the musical?
I would love to start with how it began with horror. Actual, seem to be literally shot horror where you think that the main character is about to be murdered by a bunch of cats.
So that was really especially horrifying. So for some reason, this movie did not realize what tone it wanted to be. And I'm not really entirely sure why that was so difficult to figure out. But yeah, the first thing that you see is, it's a London alley, and Victoria, the cat, is tossed in a bag. She's obviously abandoned. She's tossed in a bag, exactly like that, into an alley, and a bunch of cats just kind of start creeping out, of the shadows.
And singing menacingly at her.
Singing menacingly. The singing menacingly happens after they rip open the bag and then scurry away.
Yeah.
And then she's left alone, and she's coming out of her bag. And it's supposed to, I guess, represent some sort of a birth, as her jellicle. If we're going with the religious themes that they're trying and failing to go with, it's supposed to be like a rebirth as a stray, right? And so, because she references it a couple of times, that was like she was born in the alley. From what I could understand, because most of this movie was unintelligible.
It's like he's trying to speak to me. I know it.
All right, not just the tone. There's so much. I'm sorry.
I don't know what that first song was. All I heard was Angelical. Angelical?
Jellicle.
Oh, I didn't even heard that right. I knew Nicole. I knew
there was
that.
An ickle.
There was an ickle in there.
There was an ickle in there.
And it was important. I heard cats. Okay, I heard cats.
Jellicle had to have been an important word because we heard it about 5 million times in the first 20 seconds of this movie, I swear.
Yes.
It was really very odd.
It got to the point where after a few minutes I was like, do you think they're the Angelical cats?
Do you think they're the Angelical cats? I think they're the Angelical
cats.
Oh yeah, the reason why I feel like this movie was especially horrifying in the first few minutes was because Victoria, the white cat in the beginning, is thrown into this alley and then surrounded by all these cats who just start singing at her, not to her, at her. Because it's menacingly. This one gray tabby in particular. Anyway, I've got such a rant for him specifically. I hate him the most. Anyway, so it's more horrifying that it feels like she was initiated or coerced into an actual cult that just happens to be called the Jellicle Cats. It's a cult of cats.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it was entirely consensual, especially because of the fact that in that first scene with her and the Jellicle Cats, they're just basically being kind of awful to her and really menacing. Again, they seem like they kind of want to eat her or murder her.
Yeah.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And the music is telling us the music sets the tone for any film, especially a musical.
As they usually do.
And it was incredibly and increasingly horrifying. That music kept getting more and more sinister as the song progressed, and it was so odd. It was just a very strange choice. I don't fully understand. So.
And then it's so jarring. And you think it'll be fine, but each next scene is arguably more jarring than the next. Rebel Wilson.
Oh my god, Rebel Wilson is one of the first cats that gets her name song, and
the whole plot is just them singing their name, and then a story is kind of happening around that. Yes. Pretty much the whole time.
Until it doesn't anymore, because Gus did not say his name, like, I think, except once. And most of them, I imagine that saying your name is a pivotal part of the song. And I could barely understand him. Anyway, oh my god. So yeah, Rebel Wilson will she's helping me to stay chronologically on track, because I'm not going to be able to do that very well. I have a lot of emotions associated with this movie. So it was incredible in the worst and best way.
She just changed the tone so quickly. Because she was clearly supposed to be just full-on comedic element. And it felt... I got that they were jokes, but I didn't get that they were jokes.
They were jokes, but they weren't funny. They weren't good jokes. They were definitely jokes. Like, you could tell, oh, you're expecting me to laugh. Yeah, I didn't. And I'm not gonna. It wasn't funny, and it's not gonna be funny. Like,
not funny!
Oh, Rebel Wilson fell over.
Oh, her legs are very spread right now. Oh, God, why? So, just the whole movie was horny.
The whole movie.
Just ambiguously horny. Yeah, I think is a good term.
Incredibly sexual. There were a lot of... That was probably the most overt tone.
The old Deuteronomy, when she approved of Gus's at the end, when she just sticks...
Yeah, so Old Deuteronomy, I mean, I know that we're probably going to have to say a little bit about these characters as we're going on. Yeah. So we'll get to Old Deuteronomy in good gosh darn time, because she's going to take some time. There was a whole thing with Old freaking Deuteronomy. So anyway, so Victoria meets several cats. It's hard to even remember what order specifically, because it's so jarring.
I had to find out narrator cat's name from the internet, and I already forgot it, but
narrator
that's how I
had to... I'm going to start with narrator cat, because he was introduced right away.
In the very beginning.
The very beginning, because he was the one who technically, like, really coerced Victoria into this cat cult. and they sang, you know, how important the name ceremony, oh my god, the name ceremony. Because, okay, cats have 3 names. I'm going to go ahead and explain that to the folks at home who might not be familiar with this lore by now. If you haven't, like me, seen a whole mess of YouTube videos by this point about the cat's lore, here you go. So cats have 3 names. The one that they don't tell anybody, but that they think about. And if a cat is just sitting there...
The useless one.
The useless one. And if a cat is just sitting there saying nothing, doing nothing, and just staring into the distance, he or her is thinking about their cat name, their secret cat name. And then there's the name that people give them, their slave name. And then there's the name that is the cat name that they give to other cats, I guess, that they are, you know, I suppose it's part of this naming ceremony that we witnessed, but not to completion.
Victoria never got her name. She just stayed Victoria.
But she went through that creepy ceremony because narrator cat, which is going to be his name from now on. I don't care that he has a name. He didn't tell me his name. He didn't sing it at me, so I don't know what it is. So narrator cat does this crazy interpretive dance, like at and around and on her.
Oh god,
and like with, but then at and around. Like he puts his arms like
it's just very sensual.
I was doing it at you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, it's because I was remembering him.
Yeah,
and I got really scared.
Creepy. Yeah, no, I'm definitely not narrator. But no, he like does this crazy interpretive dance and is like very weirdly actually takes on a puppet master pose for a little bit of it, which was like, okay, well, that's mind control. So, like, what are you doing to her? Like,
and there is actual magic in the movie.
there is actual magic in the movie, which makes me, good point, that makes me even more concerned for Victoria. She's a victim in all of this. And maybe all of the Jellicle cats.
She's with a magician, too, so it's not actually, damn it.
Yeah,
Extra layers of horror we found just now.
That's fridge horror, ladies and
Gosh,
gentlemen. That is fridge horror. So yeah, extra layers of horror there. She does end up, there is a coupling that happens in the movie with Victoria and the magical Mr. Mistopheles, who arguably is the best cat. Magical Mr. Mistopheles is best cat, and that is just, there's no question about it. He is introduced briefly in the beginning, but first I'm going to talk about Narrator Cat. Okay, so he does the naming ceremony on and around Victoria, and then his character is just menacing and angry. This actor is this, full-grown, probably 6 foot plus male, and he has
a professional ballerina.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that actually is stranger to me, and yet not at the same time, because he was far too serious in this role. He took this role way too seriously, because he looked angry to be this cat, and I feel like it's because his proportions were all wrong, and that's not his fault, but by God, he had to live that way. His little ears, his tiny little ears on the top of this perfectly human body.
I don't know much about cats before this movie, but I know that in every depiction, they're given like a wig or something to make their head bigger.
Yes.
To make it look right.
Yes!
And they went the opposite way.
We're not proportioned like cats. Cats are proportioned like little babies, like chibis and stuff. And, that's cute. When you put little tiny cat ears on a human body and then pretty much do nothing else, it's not cute. It's weird. It's creepy. And this narrator cat was just not happy about it. And he was scowling the entire movie.
For
it was
me,
very creepy.
Strangely enough, whenever I saw him, I just thought he was just horny just all the time. Every look, I thought it was a sensual, like, I want you look.
Yeah, that could have been.
Every female cat that anywhere near, and I guess he looks maybe angry sexy then.
He probably was angry at how, he hadn't gotten any in a while. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's frustrating him. I don't know. I think it's because of his tiny ears. I'm sorry. If I was a cat, I would have picked magical Mr. Mistopheles. He was precious. You know what I mean? That would be my cat boyfriend. So, good job, Victoria. You picked well. Every other cat was awful, and I really genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Jason Derulo cat, Rum Tum Tucker.
Rum Tum Tugger.
What? What the?
See, even the name is just almost all you have to know about him.
True.
But he had a whole song, super falsetto, which did not fit the more operatic songs that everyone else seemed to do most of the time.
Yeah.
And you got no relief, got no break between scenes.
No.
Scene transition wasn't quite a thing.
It didn't happen. There was no scene transition and there was no tone transition except for jarring. That was it.
Yeah.
That was the transition. Oh, suddenly I'm afraid. That happened several times in the movie. And it was very weird because it happened without warning many, many times. I still, to this, it was yesterday that we saw the movie. I've had a day to kind of mull it over and everything. And it still, now, I don't know whether the cats were supposed to be good or bad cats. The Jellicle cats just seem horrifying. Like, I get that the movie was trying to tell us with words that they were just a group of cats and they were just being cats. But I'm sorry, I've met a lot of cats and none of them are that menacing. Okay.
But what did they tell us with their actions?
Exactly.
A lot of things. A lot of conflicting things.
Very conflicting things. And so the next cat after Narrator Cat was Jenny something, the Rebel Wilson cat. So Rebel Wilson cat is, so all of the Jellicle cats believe that they're getting a second chance if they get chosen, if they sing the best song and impress old Deuteronomy cat, the oldest cat, like she's like supposed to be 200 plus years old or something, from the age of Queen Victoria. That's what they said.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, wow, that's a really old cat. So old Deuteronomy is supposed to choose whoever's most deserving, but they interpret that as best performance. Gets to go to cat heaven, which is called the Heaviside layer. Okay, and that's cat heaven, and then they get to be reborn from the sky, and it's literally from the sky. Like, it's super literal, this movie.
I found out the play version is a little different and possibly sad. Like, apparently she rides away inside a tire, and that could infer that she was actually run over.
It could.
At least in the play.
In the play, they're
That's what I
definitely
heard.
dying. I mean, like, they're definitely going to be sacrificed, basically. They're going to die. Like, that's what they're actually picking is their demise. Like, I mean, yeah, whether they are aware of that or not, that's what seems to be inferred to me. Like, you know, anyway. So, again, religious themes very clumsily shoved in there. But that's part of the original play, too. Like, that it's very odd that the religious themes are just weirdly put together. But in this one, it's even weirder because I feel like they took them more literally than they were supposed to be taken. So it came off even stranger, which is hard to do with cats. So that's kind of the lore behind the Jellicle cats. They're like a cult of cats that believe this thing. And so they're all putting on performances where they say their name a bunch, you know, kind of like a breakout rap artist. Like, they're like, they really want you to know this is their song, okay? And so they're gonna say their name a bunch in this song, and that's fine, great. I learned their names, except I didn't. Because, like, you know, some of them said their names and it was clear and easy to tell. And then others I was like, what? Like, they're just saying things. They're just singing things, and I don't know what they're saying. I felt like I was actually being meowed at.
I can't understand your accent.
The big cat, I knew what his song was about.
Yes.
Just because
James
there was,
Corden.
just because there was food all around him. But I cannot tell you one lyric of that song.
Not even one.
Not one.
Even one. I think
you could just tell by the movement of their bodies. This was about him eating a lot of food.
Yes.
That's about it.
It was about him eating a lot of food, and he was incredibly offended about his weight when, like, they put him on a seesaw, and they couldn't actually, like, fling him into the air with just one cat.
Yeah.
They needed 3 cats and then a 25-pound weight.
Yep.
In order that magical Mr. Mistopheles took it upon himself to not only somehow magic out, but then, I guess, with magic, and then just, like, you know, carry to that seesaw. So that was ridiculous. Anyway.
Arguably the only joke that kind of landed for me, but of course it kind of sucks because it was a fat joke, and I'm like, I don't quite like that.
Yeah.
But that's not going to give it any, like, credit for trying to be, like,
right, like,
in that way. Exactly. I'm just like,
no,
that
it's
doesn't
not
help.
woke. It's definitely not woke, so no, it was weird too that there was a fat joke in his own song that he was singing, and yet he's super self-conscious about his weight. None of the characters were consistent. You just let's just go ahead and get that out there right now. So yeah, that was James Corden cat.
And then he got kidnapped. No one seemed to they scattered, but otherwise they were not interested in helping each other except for old Deuteronomy later.
Yeah.
Then she got side quested by these twin cats, which were like burglars and stuff, and that wasn't too jarring of a scene except for the part that reminded you that they don't know how to do their proportions, because it went from, like, they held a fork, I think, at one point, and it looked like just like about this big. Or, like, not a little bigger.
But then bigger,
then suddenly she was wearing a ring on her as a bracelet.
Yes.
And so it seemed to be, like, very jarring, but otherwise there wasn't too much body horror in that one.
Yeah, the one with the cat burglars. Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer are actually not too terrible. And it's kind of funny, like, their concept is kind of funny. Like, we all know cats are mischievous and they're troublemaking. So it's like, okay, I could follow this.
Yeah.
So.
Like, that was fine and simple.
Yeah.
And then she gets saved by Magic Mr. Mistopheles when a dog comes to get her and they just ghost, they literally look at her and go bye and then leave for her to like die.
Yeah, they're
so
pretty
like
terrible.
that's a little more darker than I think you mean for it to be. And
She's
then
get 8. Yeah.
he comes to save her. It's all good. They take her to I think the actual ball, and they get to the part where Deuteronomy shows up and they're just being weird again because they're like, they're doing that thing.
The ball is a cat orgy.
Yeah. But the thing that happened in the middle of the dancing cat orgy, that they really just mosey on past it, and it was so much for me. They were dancing, and it clearly, like, there was even, like, red lighting a little bit, and their bodies started, like, pulsing, like they were being possessed, and the music, I swear, was more menacing, on purpose menacing.
Yes.
And I was like, what's happening? Is the villain going to show up? Is there going to be a reason for this?
Yeah.
And there straight up wasn't. It went back to happy and just, orgy-ish.
Yeah.
And they really just had this brief, scary song and music and dance.
What just happened?
Yeah.
And then they pretended they didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all, oh, okay. And it really jarred me. And I'm like, how do you expect me? Why?
Yeah.
What happened? Was that the orgasm? Like a scary orgasm? Was that what that was?
I have heard that it's not pleasant for female cats. But
God, I don't want that to have a reason anymore.
yeah, I know. Well, I mean, here we are. We're being educated today. So, yeah, no, I actually have a good comparison. So does anybody remember, like in the audience, please comment if you do, that scene in Willy Wonka? Let me know if you remember this. When they go through the tunnel, the original Willy Wonka, and then they, I think, redid it a little bit, or maybe they left it out of the new one. Did they do it in the new one or leave it out?
I'm not sure if they actually did it in the new one, because it was just Johnny Depp, and it was
already jarring and scary enough.
Yeah, it was an odd adaptation, so I actually don't even think they left that in, because he already was kind of doing hints of that throughout. Where in the original, it was really out of place.
Yes. So in the original, like that, it was incredibly out of place, and there wasn't exactly a warning for it, or seemingly a reason for it. So think about that, but like that happens several times in cats, and it's just for a few seconds, and then everything goes back to being normal again, like cats normal, like you're still being like, what's happening? But like, it was like, what's happening? And now I'm scared like, for a few seconds during that weird orgy song. And I say that because that's what it was. I mean, the Jellicle Ball was just all of the Jellicle cats getting together in one old abandoned theater and dancing and then humping the ground and then rubbing on each other. And I'm just like, what?
And then they were all
watching this?
At the end, they were all out of breath, and you heard them breathing. Like they didn't edit it out, so you heard the after breathing that sounds way too like a different kind of breathing. And we're like,
it was panting.
It was
panting.
Yeah.
No, and that's actually why I hated the naming ceremony with the narrator cat in the beginning. Is because so often you can hear the fabric rubbing together and the slipping of their feet on the stage, and the original stage that they filmed it on, and then their hands and their breathing, and you can hear all of those sounds that are supposed to be taken out in post, and they just didn't do it. And I'm like, why? Did they want us to feel horrified? Because it's way too intimate and distracting. Like
the shoes.
The shoes!
I hated every cat that wore shoes the most. I hated them the most because we already... Okay, thank you for reminding me about the shoes. So these cats are not rendered well. The internet has already picked it apart. We already know that it was not rendered well. Their fur looked crazy. It was blurry and weird. Their whiskers sometimes are apparent and sometimes aren't. Honestly, mostly they aren't. Their faces seem to kind of like weirdly like shimmer in their little cat place. Like it's very odd. Like the blending. But the worst part was the fact that they didn't do anything to their horrible human hands. They just had these horrible human hands and horrible human feet on these cat monstrosities. They're just completely naked with CGI fur, somewhat there sometimes. sometimes, and then horrible hands and feet, and it's just like, why? But the worst was when they wore clothes on top of that.
A lot of them wore fur, and it's just like, murderer.
Yeah,
Murderer.
that's an odd choice, and it's like, actually, when you compare that to like the alternative, I kind of prefer the fur coat, regardless of the murderous and potentially cannibalistic implications. I don't care anymore. I'm like, that looks better than their weird nakedness that they have. But like, no, the shoes were the worst because I got somewhat used to their horrible human feet, just attached to these cat-ish forms, figures. But the shoes made less sense. Okay, like there's a cat that's a tap dancing cat. He tap danced.
Oh, and also his scene was the worst. It was everything was out of place, but his was the most and arguably completely unnecessary.
It was the worst. Like, okay, he was the railway cat.
Railway cat.
I don't remember his name, but I remember he thought he was incredibly important for the train to continue to function properly. He actually, I understood his song more than most, and I still don't know what most of those words were.
It was just because he was on a train, so we knew it was about a train and how it's about him.
And for some reason, the cats were like the size of mice on those tracks. And I just like,
they don't know what size they are.
And that was part of the disorientation. Yes. And that was part of the disorientation, was that they didn't know what any size was at any given time. You're going to be like, okay, so like, are the cats this big, or are they cat-sized, or are they people-sized? We don't know. Nobody knows. They don't know. We don't know.
What are you saying?
No knowing was had.
No one knows. So, do you want to go back to Rebel Wilson Cat? Because there was some definite horror.
I realized I was literally thinking of it, and we should probably
we should go back to Rebel Wilson.
Because that was...
I hate Rebel Wilson Cat, too.
I mean, just cruel. Just actual cruelty depicted. And I get it was one of those things where they're kind of going for like a morbid humor, I think.
Yeah.
But it didn't make sense for the story or the way they were directing it.
No.
And if they wanted to do that, they shouldn't have made the characters look so human. So, would you want to go into how? Because
yes, I do. As much as I hate it, I do. I will relive this.
So it starts with her, right? And then I think her song was that she liked to train bugs and mice.
Yeah, she did that.
The mice look like
believe you.
The mice look like children, and the cockroaches look like ladies, tap dancing ladies.
Yeah, they were like a chorus line of cockroaches for some reason, and so she trained these cockroaches, and like you know how like the cats are in like these CGI suits and stuff, and so they basically just look like they're in fur bodysuits. Well, the cockroaches were like that, but like in cockroach suits, and so they just looked like people, but in cockroach suits. And so Rebel Wilson Cat comes over. They're like this big in comparison to her.
Dancing away.
Yeah, dancing away, just in their little chorus line. She goes in there and she grabs them and she starts biting their heads off
and just eating them.
And eating them, and they're people.
Talk about eating them. I think another cat that was like, because they were all watching her, because whenever you have your name song, you have an audience.
Yeah.
And like a couple other ones either like swatted one, and I think someone else ate one as well, and it's just like you hear them and you see them not want to die, and they die anyway on screen.
And the mice were like, for some reason, God only knows the reason, but the mice were played by children.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please don't bite the heads off these children. Mice.
Yeah. She literally says dinner and a show.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the mice.
The little baby mice.
No, and there was a moment, it's a really weird, they have a very odd relationship because Rum Tum Tugger comes in at some point, and like, I think there were mice like on him at some point, and he flings one off, and again, this is a child, you know what I mean, in a big old mouse suit,
yeah,
but this big for some reason. And it's the same size as the cockroaches. They're the same size as the cockroaches, another size disorientation aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And Rum Tum Tugger just like flings one to the side, you know, so he's like falling, and he hits the ground, and he said, "Thanks, Tugger." Like, thanks, the implication is thank you for not eating
Yeah,
me.
that's what the implication.
He was
Just
so
that's sad.
grateful. It's like, oh my god, these little children mice. No, the babies. Anyway, so those implications were not great. They had a very odd relationship.
And of course, through kind of this whole time, because he actually does get introduced not introduced to them, but to the audience, McCavity.
Yeah. McCavity.
He's a fun character who he's wearing a fursuit, but for him, because he's a bad guy, it makes more sense if he killed someone to get that fur.
Right.
And the hat is a choice.
Bless you.
The hat is a choice. And he has actual magic, which he uses. And I didn't realize it at first, but I think the first few times he disappeared, he said his name, McCavity, and disappeared. But there was one time where he kidnapped the first two.
I think it was the first time.
It was?
I
Okay.
think it was the first time because it was so jarring.
Set the scene. He has Rebel Whistling Cat and James
Corden
Corden tied up, and he's like he's monologuing at them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then gets up real close. He's supposed to be intimidating. This is the villain. And in his manly ass voice, he goes, meow. And he disappears.
Mind you, no magic has officially been established yet. Okay, real magic has not actually been established. Like, yes, magical Mr. Mistopheles magicked that 25-pound weight,
magic.
but we didn't actually see that. Yeah, he could have found it. It's whatever. Nothing makes sense anyway in this movie, so he could have found it in the trash. It's fine. But this was actual magic, and it just happens out of nowhere. Just simultaneously with that, it's just like what? The whole audience died. Like it was
everyone
so
laughed.
Great.
It was clear.
Laughed.
I don't know if it was. I don't think it was supposed to be funny. Clearly, they didn't know what they were doing, but everyone laughed, and that was the nice bonding experience because we all realized we were here for the same reason, and
I
we
think
didn't.
That was the moment.
Yeah, we realized. Oh, we are all laughing. We all know what this is. I think we can just because I think everyone was trying to actually be really nice and not laugh because there could be people actually wanting to enjoy this movie, and we didn't
take it seriously.
We didn't want to get in the way, and then we realized at that moment, no, we're all here.
Kin.
We're here. This is together bonding with perfect strangers. It was actually a really nice moment. That was maybe one of the most pure, understandable moments of the viewing.
It happened okay. So McCavity captured these cats and just tied them up to a barge that is going on the River Thames through London, and he's doing this because he wants to be the Jellicle cat, and so he's taking them,
getting rid of the competition,
and he literally says that in case we couldn't understand because we couldn't understand anything anymore. Our faculties were shot, we had no idea what was happening. So I'm glad he explained what he was doing.
You can't just have your characters announce how they feel. That makes me feel angry.
It's a great movie when the villain has to verbalize their motivation. So, anyway, he did that for us. Thank you, McCavity. And then he meowed himself away, and then Growl Tiger.
Oh, Growl Tiger.
The cat that just stays on the barge to watch the cats that are catnapped by McCavity. There's a lot of Kaz in that sentence.
That's a good.
Thank you. Okay, so he suddenly actually sings his name song, and I'm like, is he also a Jellicle cat? He just came out of nowhere. He wasn't even hardly really introduced. He just kind of was lurking, and then all of a sudden he's there.
He didn't really have a role much in
and
the movie.
And he's singing to James Corden cat and Rebel Wilson cat.
Yeah. Luckily, it was at least only one line of song, but it was still we don't need a song from you.
We don't need a song from you.
We didn't even really necessarily need to know your name.
No, not at all. I still don't.
How about
even know
Narrator Cat? Give Narrator Cat that little bit of song. Just trade it.
There were so many times when I thought I finally learned Narrator Cat's name.
We thought he was Railroad Cat because he started someone else's song.
He started Railroad Cat's songs. Geez, Railroad Cat, sing your own song.
Yeah, why didn't you? introduce yourself as one of the competitors. Oh, because you're not, and this is for someone else? Why are you starting this other man's? Everyone else had started their own song also, which made it more jarring. Because why does this railroad cat who does nothing get so much of an introduction from all the other cats?
Why do we go on the actual train for Railroad Cat when we're like just going through the streets for every other cat? Like,
yeah. And there's actual magic, so you don't know if they teleported briefly and came back, which would suck if they did, because then they should have just asked him to get.
Yeah. Wow.
There's another kidnapping plot. So there's just if you can transport, then you save them.
They immediately shifted from the theater, the old rundown theater where the Jellicle Ball took place, to an actual train and railroad in London. And we're all like, okay, sure. We're just gonna go with it at this point. I don't care, you know. How did they get there? I don't know.
They're here now.
They're here now.
Yeah. And we're here too.
We're here too. God help us all.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Dancing, and he made train noises, and we literally waited for him to go like. It was like, how long is this gonna go on? People are dying. I don't know, somewhere out there.
Somewhere, someone's dying or something.
Someone's dying. I am me right here now.
Yeah, the audience, I suppose.
The audience is dead.
We're in danger.
Inside. Anyway, so this also happened right after their leader of their cult was kidnapped. And Taylor Swift Cat, who does not ever sing her name, she actually sings McCavity's song for him.
They just switched to other cats can introduce someone else's name and song.
It's like, when was that in the rules? Are you trying to get in on their Jellicle action by singing parts of their song for them?
Yeah. She got everyone drugged.
Yeah, on catnip, which apparently acts a lot like heroin.
Apparently.
They just
or
kind of
some kind of seductive mind control, because they also kind of danced with her song a little bit.
They did a little bit, yeah. There was some mind control elements were definitely in that catnip. I'm not sure why. And Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser were cohorts of McCavity, and Bomballerina,
possibly
Bomballerina, whatever her name is, Taylor Swift Cat is what she's going to be now. Because she never said her name, so, you know. She decided to just forfeit her Jellicle rights to McCavity, apparently.
Yeah, she just, I didn't really understand her motivation, but I didn't understand a lot of motivation.
She came down from a goddamn moon, and she just, you saw the trailer, I'm sure, where she's swinging from a moon. Yeah, that just comes down in a rundown theater. Nothing makes sense.
She's really just a side cat that's a villain.
I feel like the problem is they were using theater logic. Like, if it had happened in a theater, like an actual, like, okay, on stage, right? All of a sudden a crescent moon comes down, no question, that's normal. Like, they do that stuff all the time. But because they made it more, like, realistic, kind of, in the scene setting and everything, everything felt much more disorienting.
The gosh dang CGI. Just give us the stage makeup. I think it would have looked fine. I've looked up how it looks. It looks kind of neat.
It actually looks pretty cool.
I saw a more human, modernized one, actually, as well, which looks like a great adaptation, actually. I'm like, this is not jarring. It's just enough cat and human to where it doesn't make me go, stop.
Oh, dear God.
The bar's very low.
It is really low. I actually watched the original Cats on DVD when I was younger, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was fun. It didn't have to make a whole lot of sense. The songs were fun and great, and I thought everybody's performances were really great because it's hammy and cheesy, and that's what theater always is. Okay, and the thing is, they interpreted that into movie form, but they didn't change enough theater elements. So it doesn't work.
Either go all theater and make it kind of campy, or get as much out of theater away from it.
It's like, are you ashamed of your source material? When you change that much of your source material, are you just ashamed of it? Why are you adapting it if you're ashamed of it? Why? You should be ashamed of yourself because your adaptation was awful, and the original was fantastic. I love the original. It doesn't have to make sense. Yeah. Some of these songs that we've been picking apart are still the same songs in the original movie, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't have to make sense in the stage play. Yeah. It's not trying to be realistic.
Also, in the stage play, you can probably hear it.
Yeah, you can actually understand. They're intelligible, and they're speaking the same language, I believe, that I am, or at least I had a cat translator for the stage play. For this, they might as well have been meowing at me the entire time. Yeah. For the entire hour and a half runtime, whatever it is. Yeah.
And then, so Deuteronomy gets kidnapped, right? And that doesn't work out. And then, of course, they turn to magic Mr. Mistopheles.
Yes.
To use his magic to bring him back.
Yeah.
Because they needed to give Victoria something to do, because it was her idea to get him to do that. Because she really hadn't done anything but be dragged about and, lusted after, really, at this point.
Yeah.
That's all she had done. So she thinks, no, we can get him back, Mr. Mistopheles. And that's kind of like the biggest thing she does, other than be nice to the cat, where we haven't even mentioned her because it's so hard to remember that she's in it, even though actually she's supposed to be pretty important. But they hate her for some reason, which I still don't even understand.
Isabella.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And that one.
That one that's hard to care about. The thing is, it sucks. I feel like she actually really tried. Like she did. She managed tears. Her singing
Jennifer
was well.
Hudson,
yes.
I think, is who played her.
Yes.
Fantastic performance.
But it made it even more jarring because, girl, no one else is on your level. So it makes this weird.
Except my favorite and least favorite performance. Sir Ian McKellen.
But he was doing it in the, it was like they were two opposites of it was like the two examples. Full-on movie or full-on theater. Yes. Ian McKellen was the full-on theater example of what they could have made it right. And she was a full-on actor, realistic, they could have made it right.
Yeah.
So it had elements, two representations, and then everyone else was an amorphous blob of horror and lust.
Body horror
and
lust
and sensuality and bad CGI.
just really bad everything. I feel like sometimes you could tell the actors knew what they were in at certain points.
Yeah.
Jennifer Hudson acted her goddamn heart out, and bless her, she really tried. She summoned snot tears, she summoned some ugly crying, that was real, and I was like, dang. Jinx. Yes, girl. Yes, queen.
Yes, queen.
And I respected that moment a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. And she did it twice, too, because her song was interrupted.
Yeah.
The not even arguably best song in the play, Memory, was interrupted. Mm-hmm. Which is not a great choice, because it's okay, we were already switching tones from crazy, psychedelic, lighthearted, what I'm supposed to be feeling, to suddenly I'm definitely supposed to be feeling sadness, to then back to the craziness, and then back to sadness again, but more.
Back to sadness.
That was weird. But Sir Ian McKellen.
And then there is Sir Ian McKellen.
I'll tell you about critics.
Oh my god! Okay, so I heard it described really, really well. I think it was on Screen Junkies, where all of the actors were acting different levels of cat, different percentages of cat, right? Sir Ian McKellen was just 100% cat. I don't officially know for sure that he even was actually acting. I feel like he was having some sort of an episode where he actually believed that he was a cat. And he just wandered on stage in this costume, and they just started filming, and they were like, oh great, we got Sir Ian McKellen in this. And he's like, meow. That's an actual quote. It's a direct quote from Sir Ian McKellen. He was genuinely knights. He's one of us. Yeah. And he actually was licking
the water. I was literally thinking it as you said it just now. That
we're on the same page.
He was just, again, it's kind of sucks because if everyone had acted either like Sir McKellen or like what's her face?
Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer.
Yes.
I was thinking of her actual cat name.
Oh yeah, Grisabella. Yes.
If they were acting either like her or like him, but if everyone had just picked a side, it might have worked better. But they decided not to do that.
But alas, nobody was on the same page. You know how we were just on the same page? That didn't happen in the movie.
No.
That didn't happen once. That was crazy. That was just absolute madness. One of the weirdest parts, though, because we already had body horror with...
I think I thought of what you're mentioning again. I think we did it again. Are we doing about where he sheds the coat?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we're ready for this.
Not just Idris Elba. I was actually going to go further back.
Okay.
To the other shedding of the coat with the zipper.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Rebel Wilson cat.
God, horrifying.
Out of nowhere is capable and performs the shedding of her coat, of her fur. Which where was the zipper? Why was it there?
Like there was was her flesh.
What
and
happened?
There was zipper and she had an outfit underneath.
We all had this audible disgust, this grotesque response.
Everyone in the theater. No one was for that at all.
Everyone yelled and was like, "Oh God!
God help us all."
She just, yes! And all of a sudden, there's a glistening, like, stage suit of a bikini kind of thing.
Yeah.
And or a dress, something.
A dress, corset,
I don't
dress
remember.
thing. It was.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't remember. I just blacked out.
The trauma imprinted it. A lot of this stuff is imprinted from trauma.
Yes, I responded by blacking it out. After the skin came off, I saw a glimpse and then I was gone. I was like, okay, whoops, no, there I go. Off into the ethers. I'm going to Heaviside Lair now. So, yeah, so let's go to Idris Elba cat, McCavity. That's a really good point, and feel free to go off.
I
queen.
feel like it's just some catharsis. Okay, so speaking of just the worst CGI, which is just this whole movie, but this one, I don't know why they do him like this. I really don't. So he had this big old coat, and it actually made the most sense out of all of them to have any kind of clothing, because he's like bad, so it makes sense. If he really skinned someone, it would make sense.
Yeah.
Evil. So he shows up after Taylor Swift introduces him and sings his song for him. But he decided to get rid of the hat and get rid of the coat, and he was just naked. And most of them are supposed to be naked, but he was naked. Because you could see his pecs, you could see his ab lines. The hair was so short, it just looked like a bodysuit.
It just looked like a bodysuit.
And I didn't understand why, because you knew it was not, just like, everyone else had just enough to where, like, the human form wasn't too tight to it. But it was just like, no, that's, like, shimmery, like, bodysuit.
Yeah.
Why did you make this decision? Especially looking at the original, where he's the hairiest of cat in the original play, and they made him the most naked of cats.
He is.
It is not intimidating. It's not sexy. It's no. It's a no. It's a yikes.
Yikes!
It's a yikes from me. It's a yikes from everyone.
Yeah, it was a yikes from the audience. So, like, what's even worse is that his cat fur is the same color as his human skin. And so it's like, okay, well,
just a simple brown color.
Just looking at Idris Elba completely
with ears. That's it.
Nude with ears. Oh my god, okay, so this is another nitpick that I just personally have where I feel like I keep getting out of frame, I'm sorry. Where, like, their tails really bothered me. Okay, so if you know what cats are like they can't put their tails up like okay, so if a cat was up on its hind legs, which a lot of the time they are because they can't figure out how people these cats are. So a lot of times they're just standing upright, right, on their hind legs, and their tail goes all the way up because for some reason we have to have it in frame at all times because we have to remember that they're cats, and it's like, okay, we know they're cats. Even though your CG is really, really bad.
In the most horrible way, we know they're cats.
We remember that they're cats. And, like, I don't know what percentage of cat. I know that they're supposed to be cat-like, so I don't need their tail to constantly be like this. It added an element of cheese and horror and disorientation to the already nightmarish amount. For me personally, I was like, and their tail's right next to their face. What's their spine doing right now? Like,
I see.
No, it really was. It was horrifying. There was something specifically horrifying about that for me when their tail was next to their face. And it's just like, also their tails were doing things that tails don't do. And I'm like, then why give them tails? Why give them CGI tails if you're going to make them do things tails don't do? Why are they so coordinated to the song and the dance number? What's happening? I would have preferred for their tail to be just a lifeless piece of fur and flesh just attached to their buttocks.
Really just wanted the stage makeup and everything. Just get rid of the whole, every aspect of
Just
CGI.
burn everything!
You ruined everything! We ruined everything!
And started from scratch.
And put it in the dump.
Put it in the dump. That James Corden cat can eat it?
Yes, I was just thinking that. Yes.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes, you did it. Yes, absolutely. It was just absolute madness. So, and Rebel Wilson cat, apparently that's like her skill is like shedding her outer layer, because for some reason she waited until old Deuteronomy was also kidnapped to do this, but she did end up saving all of them by doing her thing that she did in her dance and song number.
Yeah. Which got her out somehow. Because she, like, shed the shackles with her skin, I guess.
I
guess that makes sense.
I guess. I don't know.
I thought it was around, you know?
They were tied up, like, around
so that
their
would make sense, because then it's like, it's still there. Anyway.
I don't understand. Anyway, so she saves them by using that ability of hers. I know I might have wiped off some of my fur, but anyway, it's fine. But she saves them by using that crazy skill that she has. And, magical Mr. Mistopheles is just adorable, and he uses his magic to be able to transport old Deuteronomy back to the old theater before that, I guess.
Yeah, just before that.
Because who cares about the other cats?
Yeah,
like,
they don't, but they just want to let the audience know that they're still saved. I'm like, yeah, but I'm still aware that they didn't really care about the other cats. They don't really care,
They
except
broke into at least one other song.
Yeah.
While those cats were kidnapped.
Yeah.
I mean, like, progressively more songs. They didn't care at all about James Corden cat.
Nope.
Not even a little bit.
Which I mean,
I kind of understand. No. James Corden cat doesn't care about
especially
James Corden cat.
Rebel Wilson cat. I don't.
She has an element of body horror, and she was the most scarring because she bit the heads off of people. In her number.
She sure did.
They were already cockroaches. That's already gross enough. But the fact that they were people cockroaches. No. That ain't it. that ain't it. So, my cat just like I just accidentally like kicked her a little bit. Oh no. She's like, come here, Lily. I think she's trying to bite at my feet. She's hiding under my dress, and she doesn't like that my feet are like infringing on her territory now. That is so cats. And I learned about them. So Jason Derulo cat, I feel like was especially interesting to me because he was like the most like he was just out here doing the most, but like in the worst way. You know, like how Jennifer Hudson was out here giving it her all. There's a difference between giving it your all and doing the most. And Jason Derulo was doing the most. Okay, so like there was a song, Magical Mr. Mistopheles song, when he was trying to magic old Deuteronomy back with his teleportation ability that apparently he had, I guess. Sure, McCavity could do it. Whatever, sure. Okay, so Jason Derulo's out here like adding falsetto notes to, like, he's just like
the
all
only
the
one.
chorus of cats is singing,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, no, never was there ever a cat so clever as magical Mr. Mistopheles. And then, like, they keep going, like...
And then it didn't go, like... was there a part where they went, ooh, or something?
And
And
they're
it was
going,
like a... Yeah.
"Ooh," or something like that.
And he's, like, up in the rafters,
He's like,
high pitch.
"Oh!" She's like, oh my god! What are you doing?
Shush!
Jason!
You're that guy right now.
Serious.
Stop it. Get some help.
This is our cult leader. She's captured. And we're trying to bring her back through the power of belief and friendship and song.
Yeah.
Jason.
Derulo.
Oh my god, and his wink, like his, or whatever he does.
What? What the?
Like,
Yeah,
that.
he was the most sexual.
He was
which
the most
is,
sexual.
Which is hard to be, but also just, God.
Yeah, I hope this, yeah, I don't understand. I just know he was the most annoying kind of cat. That's what his song was about. He was the most annoying kind of cat that could never make up their mind.
Yeah, I would see, with that, his didn't have a lot of, like, stage elements to help you figure out what the song was about.
No.
Which was weird, because he's a singer, so I didn't understand why I couldn't understand the lyrics of even his song.
No.
I don't remember what
That's-
he sang, but he did something like he lifted, Victoria up for a second and then let her go, and then I realized, oh, this is about him not being able to make up his mind for things.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand
Yes.
what his song was about, other than maybe him liking to do to sex a lot.
Yeah.
From the way he was, like, just, because the female cats almost exclusively were singing with him instead of the whole Jellicle cat.
Yes.
It's mostly the ladies.
It was
so
all the female cats and they were meowing at him.
Yeah, they were really into him. And I'm
They
like,
literally did that.
and I'm like, why?
And no, and it's funny because they looked mostly like people. Like, again, there wasn't enough cat to them. So you're just literally seeing a bunch of ladies up on a bar, like just putting their little their horrible human hands.
Milk
on
going
the
directly in
bar.
their mouth, which I was like, no, too much. No, too much.
The implications. It was an actual milk bar. And and Rebel Wilson kept making the stupidest puns. And it was so crazy. And
Yeah.
it should have been something that saved it, honestly. 'Cause I
Yeah.
love puns. I
Yeah.
do. But I was like, not now, Rebel Wilson cat. I'm confused and angry. Like, my husband actually loved them. Brendan loved them. He was actually laughed, especially at the one where she's shouting at Jason Derulo cat, going, "Quit milking it!"
That should have saved it. I
Honestly-
didn't even realize it was a pun because I was just upset. Yeah, no, I didn't realize she was yelling puns specifically until
She
just
was yelling
now.
cat and milk puns.
Because you did it better, so I'm like,
Thank you.
So, Jesus,
I know.
I love
should have
puns.
saved it.
I'm mad that I didn't understand that. That's what you did. I just thought she didn't like him.
You know what you've done.
How dare you make me not realize you did a pun?
And
so
and
mad.
also, like, she commented on his falsetto because he kept doing them, and she
Yeah.
said, "Did he get neutered recently?" Because the notes were really high, and
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, that should have been funny because
Yeah.
but like again, they don't know how to
Especially-
deliver comedy in this.
Especially with the actual element that they did have to CGI out his genitals.
Yeah, apparently, like,
Yeah.
which is, okay, yikes, Jason Derulo, why would we even know that?
Oh,
Learned way too much about his body and Idris Elba's body from
Too
this
much
movie.
about Peter Elvis' body.
And
Too
I
much.
learned that cats can shed their skin. Oh, the best part. Okay, so Old Deuteronomy's song.
Okay, Old Deuteronomy song? Oh, at the very end? Like, we're
Yes.
getting to that? Okay.
If you would like,
Yes, I
if
would
you
love
are
to.
ready to relive that trauma.
I'm ready.
Okay.
So ready.
Okay.
Okay,
just
so
be sure.
oh well, we should probably talk about the fact that they they picked the
Yes.
picked.
Thank
I
you.
already forgot her name again.
Grisabella. Yes.
Yeah,
I know.
Grisabella.
I only know because I knew the original.
Yeah. So they picked Grisabella to be the one to ascend, and she gets in this hot air balloon that was just there. It was just this chandelier that was there the whole time, apparently. And so she goes up to the sky, and she disappears in the clouds, and everyone laughs in the theater.
Because it's a cat-shaped cloud. It's like,
We're like, I guess she'll
She
be
just
fine.
died.
Yeah, but she's just gonna die up
she
there.
just died up there.
How high's he gonna go?
All the way, Patrick. Up to the great beyond. Goodbye, friend.
Happy trails!
You're welcome.
I think this is
I don't think this is right.
So they leave the little old rundown place and they go in front of the statue, and the Jellicle cats that don't really that aren't the main characters and just dancers, and then there's the four up there: Deuteronomy, narrator cat, Mr. Mistopheles, and Victoria. And then old Deuteronomy in the middle of this little group looks directly at us in the audience. And she just starts talking to us. And she breaks the fourth wall. And it's like, I don't want this. No, you stop looking at me. No, and it just keeps, it's coming at you. She is talking to you. You're a part of this movie.
You specifically.
You're a part of this movie. We didn't want to be a part of this movie.
We didn't want it.
We wanted to watch the awfulness, and we did. We didn't want to be in it. We did not want this. And she's like, know that cats are not dogs. And that stood out the most because absolutely no one was accusing her of being a dog. We were not accusing cats in general of being dogs.
Nobody thought this lady stopped looking at me.
That was not even a point made in the movie at any point. But it was like repeated. But the worst part for me personally of that was she was talking about how you should treat cats. And specifically how you should leave them food and drinks and everything. And you realize how jarring because only she is breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
But there are 3 other cats. Narrator cat over here by himself, Victoria, and Mr. Mistopheles. And they're all looking directly at her. They're not even looking out into the distance. They're listening to her as if she's talking to them, but she's clearly...
I'm gonna be them while you're being her. Okay.
So she talks about how you should leave milk and fish and all other kinds of...
They started licking their lips.
But they're looking at her and they're all oddly sensual. And so there's this, and she's an old cat. She's clearly an old woman. And so they're licking their lips and looking hungry as they're looking directly at her face.
I don't like where this is going. Stop! Stop! No. Stop!
And it's so sexual and disgusting. And I hate it so much. And I just wanted to stop.
I don't know if you realize this, but like movies are not supposed to be like, you're not supposed to look into the camera when you're acting, right? Okay, so I don't know if you realize this. This is a knighted, okay, Dame Judi Dench is also knighted. I know this was direction, okay? She was directed to look into the camera for like 5 minutes straight while these other 3 cats are just hovering around her, staring at her, obviously not knowing who the hell she's talking to,
but cool with it.
Completely
enamored
fine with it.
by it.
Enamored by it. Completely enamored by her because she's their cult leader, of course.
Yeah.
And licking their lips with increasing insatiable acts.
With passion.
With passion. They were really into it. Okay, I was like, whoa, all right, what's happening?
Everyone was like, stop. Make it stop. Please make it stop.
There were groups. It was so fun. Okay, it felt like I've been to one showing of The Room. I would love to go and do it again just because it is such a fun experience of camaraderie in the theater. It's a bonding experience because we're all in agreement. You and potentially hundreds of other people are in agreement. Well, I don't know, depending on how big the theater is, like at least 100 other people are in agreement that this is just an awful disaster. Okay, and we're here to like just enjoy the heck out of it. Let's just enjoy the heck out of it, and we're here to laugh at it. And that's exactly what happened. It became progressively as the movie went on because like how Zoom Moon said in the beginning, like it originally people really started out watching this movie just quietly laughing to their friends, you know, and trying to be very respectful for any theater majors or whoever the heck.
She reminded me to whisper because I was like, I laughed a little too loud, and she's like, and I was like, you were absolutely right.
Because I didn't know. I was like, I'm not sure what kind of theater this is.
I was right there with you. I didn't want to be rude either.
You never want to be that guy.
Especially there was like an older couple in the front, and I was like, this could be nostalgia for them.
That's who I was.
And it's really nice just to think of how many people did want to be considerate.
Yeah, everyone was so courteous.
And then we all got to bond and let go. Because as soon as he said meow and disappeared, we all knew. We all knew.
Because nobody could hold in their laughter, and the entire theater laughed, and so we were like, oh, good. We're all here for the same reason. We all know what this is.
Yeah, and all of us did not want Judi Dench
Yeah.
to look at us.
Nobody wanted to make eye contact with her. I'm sorry. Like, I would love to meet Judi Dench in real life.
Yeah, none of these actors are at fault.
Deuteronomy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was the direction, 100% direction, and, well, okay, not 100%, because there's a lot wrong with this movie, but, like, at least a good portion of it was direction, and screenwriting, I suppose.
Actors did their best. Some
They
of
did
them
their
just
best.
had fun with what they had to do. Jennifer Hudson, bless her heart.
Bless her sweetheart.
Lord,
she
great.
acted her heart out. She was the only part of this where I was like, okay, I feel like I'm watching the play, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this is not cheese. This is just straight art. This is talent. And I was like, bless you.
Yes.
You're trying.
Yes.
I don't know what
And she
happened
did
to everything
well.
else.
Yeah. If everyone else had followed her lead, maybe, then even with the horrible CGI.
Well, no, okay, the thing about cats...
Idris Elba naked, I don't think there was any saving that.
There's no saving that. The fact that they decided to, if we could go back in time and we could convince them not to spend millions of dollars on CGI.
And just give them the...
I don't know if you know this, but they actually were still doing touch-ups the day of the premiere. Yes.
Oh.
The day of the press screening. Yes, not the actual official premiere, the press screening premiere, which it's still supposed to be done because that's only like 2 or so weeks
because the point is it's
before.
supposed to be done.
It's supposed to be a finished product by the press screening. That is the finished product. That's not like a test audience or anything like that. And the morning of, they were still touching up that goddamn CGI. And they still left in their horrible human hands. And I swear to you, that was one of the worst parts. Because I feel like if they had at least, like, put fur around their wrists or something.
Yeah.
Something. They were in bodysuits. They might as well have just been in bodysuits that you just glued a bunch of fur to. That wouldn't have cost them millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, what's happening? And everybody keeps like saying, or not everybody, I've heard the defense that, well, this was experimental technology. And I was like, okay, it was a failed experiment. Yes.
Hold up.
They'd never did it before.
I've seen a lot of CGI where someone wears a suit, though, so I feel like...
I know, but apparently this was,
like
I know. I'm
what
like,
was
I
different?
don't know what was different about it. I
I've
think
seen
that it was awful.
stuff like this before where it's, the person is clearly using, like, I've seen that. I know what that is.
Yeah.
What part was experimental?
Right. No, that's what they keep saying, is that they've never used technology like this before. And I mean, and I want to ask them, who do you mean by they? Are you talking about the people hired to do this technology? Because I could believe that. I can't believe they, as in Hollywood. I do actually think they know what they're doing normally. These people, though? Yeah, I do believe that they've never done it before. Yeah, absolutely. So, yikes. There was a lot of yikes in this experience. So, that's something, okay. What's really cute, though, and I might actually include a clip. But I don't know if you've seen the interview of Sir Ian McKellen, but he vehemently defends this movie.
Oh, he does?
He does, and I think it's because he was 100% cat for all of it, so I don't even think he actually knew what was going on.
Oh, no.
He was like, okay, no, I'm serious when I say he looked like he was having some sort of an episode. Like, he looked like he was in a daze. He didn't actually look like he knew what was going on when he was acting. He was acting like a cat.
Yeah.
Like a cat that was delirious too. Like, at least my cat, I can make eye contact with her and I can see there's something going on in that little baby head. Okay, but I don't know what was going on in Asparagus' head.
Oh, God.
That was his
I did kind of like his name. It was
His name was
stupid,
cute.
but I liked it.
Just like
I like
many
it,
of
but
them.
I like asparagus. Oh, my nose itches.
I actually like asparagus too. I think you could probably touch it and it's probably fine. Yeah, it's probably fine.
Oh no, that comes off.
No, it's fine though.
Okay.
It's still like, it's thick enough, it like cakes on, so it's like probably got some layers.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so asparagus, oh yeah, but just don't touch like your face with what you just, because you could rub it off on your face. Oh no, I warned you too late! Let me see. It's fine.
I've been touching my
It's
face.
fine, I'm sorry. No, like if you've touched the nose, like, you know, then yes.
Well, that's what I meant, because I did touch, and then I immediately scratched a different part of my face.
I made that mistake before,
See,
especially
this is why
with
I don't
the black. Yeah.
put stuff on my face, because I touch my face so much.
I mean, I do too. It's inevitable. Like, it's a part of you.
Because then when I know I can't touch my face, it itches.
Yeah, that's when it itches.
It immediately itches.
Maybe it itches normally, but you're more aware. You're like,
because you're not supposed to.
Can't do anything.
You're not allowed to itch it.
Yeah, but no, you're doing great. You did great. It
Thank
looks great. But yeah, that was an experience. Is there anything? I know there's so much. There's so much that we could talk about.
You could just keep going on and on.
We could keep going for quite a while.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Do you feel like that's been enough, or do you feel
I feel like we hit a good amount of points.
Yeah, I feel like so too.
Yeah. The worst offenders, I think we mentioned, because for me, it was the song where they literally had a horror thing where you think something's going to happen and they just go back to happy, and they literally, absolutely, in no way address it. And that just freaked me out. And then, that part got me so good.
That was so funny. Oh my god, so many people laughed. I laughed to the point that I actually was in tears. I genuinely laughed to the point, and that's hard to do. That never happens. Yes.
I feel like a good thing to summarize was the very end, when you're finally done and the credits start rolling. Everyone burst into the biggest, most applause and pure laughter, where we just got to be so loud. I laughed so hard, and it felt like everyone was just in joy.
Oh yeah.
It was a great experience.
Oh yeah.
Like, harsh review, but it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's
fantastic.
It's fantastic.
It's
I loved it. I want it. I want to get it.
I would love to have that movie.
I made Michael promise me not to watch it without me, because I want to see his reaction.
Yes! Oh my god, I kind of want to see his reaction too.
So I'll invite you if we get it. I will spend money to have this thing.
It's going out of theaters fairly soon.
Yeah.
So you got to jump on it, because they only had. Oh, that was part of the experience for us. Is we actually. I had a derp moment, and I ended up looking at the time, like the day before, and thinking, oh, it's at 2:55, because they only had 3 screenings left, and it was in a theater outside of town. So we drove outside of town to this theater at we got there around 3. We were like, oh, okay, cool. We're not gonna miss too much. Turns out we missed half the movie, because it actually started at 2:35, and so we went on a journey for this movie. So we went, we were like, okay, well, we're all in now. So we went to another town and watched this movie. Yep. And
then we got there early, so we got to see all the
we got to see everything, which was fantastic. And so we got a better audience probably, because I don't think anyone else was going to be watching it in that theater, the first one that we were going to. So in this one, we got to have that camaraderie moment, and I was like, this is the appeal.
Yeah, this is why we want to see it, because it's
it's so bad.
It's so bad.
But it's beautiful.
Wonderful. I want it. I'm gonna own it. If I can't get Michael to see it in theaters, because he's like, I don't want to spend money on that. I was like, I understand, but I am gonna get a hold of it, and we're gonna watch it together.
Brendan with you, you don't have to spend money on it, because he works on it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It ends up being a double date. But,
okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
That's fun.
Yeah, no pressure or anything, but I'm just saying. But yeah, it definitely was worth the ticket price to go and see in theaters
for me,
with people. Absolutely.
I'm very happy with my experience.
Yes, it was incredible. I loved it, and I feel like some of those people probably did, at least some of those people in the theater with us did see the original too, and I think that's part of kind of knowing how awful it is, because some of how bad it is the premise. I mean, okay, so Victoria Cat, the white cat that you're following, she's supposed to be the audience POV basically, because she doesn't actually know what's going on. But that's the problem, is that she doesn't know what's going on. We don't actually need a POV, we need coherence.
Yeah, because we could have followed that with just the camera following the characters on their journey.
Absolutely.
Without necessarily her needing to be there.
Yeah, no, that actually kind of made it worse, because there was an extra element of horror, because I was kind of afraid for her, because she was so naive.
Yeah, so naive, so vulnerable.
Was she a kitten? I don't even know how old any of them were.
We were pretty sure Narrator Cat was pretty into her for a while there, just seemed to interacting with her a lot, and he just moved so sensually.
Yeah. Sorry.
And so, But he seemed to, like, there was a part where they were encouraging Magic Mr. Mistopheles, where he seemed to, like, have given her some space, because at least it was, like, a weird acknowledgement that they were kind of, like, together.
Yeah. They butted heads, and that in cat language means they were making out. So, yeah. They, like, touched heads or something.
Yeah.
So.
Which is weird, because a lot of them also did that with Deuteronomy, so, like...
I guess it means... Maybe that was a kiss on the cheek version.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just all kiss each other, like, you know.
It's just sensual, just a lot.
It's a sex cult, so it's fine.
So it was a great viewing. Definitely exhausted by the end of it. Mm-hmm. Also exhausted just reliving it. So tired.
It was such an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, you feel so many things.
I felt... Okay, I like to say this about this movie. It assaulted all of my senses. I tasted this movie. I smelled this movie. I don't know how, but it has a scent.
A taste. I disliked it the most when I felt the movie.
I hated feeling the movie.
Touching me.
I felt it. I didn't want to feel it. They had little cat paws coming out of the seat, and I'm just kidding. That part didn't happen. We had special screening that was 4D. Anyway,
it felt that way when
it came with real cats.
When Deuteronomy started talking, it felt that way so much.
It felt that way when McCavity got naked. It felt that way when Deuteronomy put her leg up, welcoming Gus.
Yeah, approving of, like, it was like that was their version of clapping. It was just lifting. Oh, and when they clapped, they go like this.
Oh my god! I loved it.
They moved their shoulders. And it was just like,
I actually did that. Like, yeah. I think at that part I started doing it on my legs because I thought it was so cute. It's like, yeah. I think that was the point where we were able to be loud. So. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Go see it.
Yes.
See it while it's still in theaters. Catch it while you can.
Yeah,
it is
in the
an
big
experience.
Yes, on the big screen especially. I'm curious of how it'll be just when I have it at home.
I don't think it'll be the same.
Yeah, but I feel like I'll still get that enjoyment.
I think so too. It makes me kind of really want to. It makes me appreciate the stage play more.
Yeah.
I really want to go see the stage play now.
A part of me wants to see the original. So that's kind of a good.
And I own the original.
Oh.
This is happening. Then we continue down the rabbit hole that is cats.
Down
the cat hole. We've seen too many cat holes. There were a lot of butts in this movie because like their suits were skin tight.
They really wanted to be alluring.
It's not a good thing.
I don't think it worked. Even among furries, I don't think it worked.
I don't think so. I don't know. Hey, we should look and see how furries responded to cats.
I think I have two friends who are furries. I literally have two.
Yeah. We're gonna do some interviews. Furries, what is your take on Cats 2019?
I want them all to hate it really badly.
I genuinely do too. I'm like, no, they give us a bad name. I want to hear that from them.
I bet that's what they would think.
I honestly think so too. Anyway, so this was a review of Cats, the musical 2019 version, and my name is Bumbleflea.
And I am Zoom Moon.
Perfect. And thank you all for watching. If you'd like more from us, specifically Bumbleflea and Zoom Moon, please do leave a comment. If you'd like to be subscribed and knighted into our medieval army, please do hit that subscribe button with your paw. Just gently tap it with your paw or stab it with your sword and you shall be knighted immediately. Thank you very much.
McCavity!
It worked! Go! Jolly good. All right then. Perfect. Then that's it. Jolly good show. All right. Bye-bye.